On a moonlit night. In a very deserted forest. A zombie comes out from the ground and is surprised to see the things around him. And he tries to pull himself out of the ground and he says, "So, I've crossed over? Wow, this body is so stiff, did the original owner not eat? I just downloaded Plants vs. Zombies, synthetic version, on my computer. As soon as I opened the software, the computer screen went black. When I opened my eyes, where did I go to? Am I still in the country? Sure enough, I still need to support the real version. Why did I play with a modified and pirated version?" And his attention goes to his tomb and he remembers, "I remembered some scattered memories. My name is Zhang. And this is my grave." In other words, the original owner's corpse was already stiff before I crossed over? If I had come here earlier, I would have been able to seamlessly connect with the original owner, right? Well, the person's alive, let's just fill the hole, it's bad luck. And then a light flashes and the system appears in front of Zhang Wei. And seeing the system, Zhang Wei says, "Oh, the Transmigrator's portable system is here." But then Zhang Wei sees something which makes him shocked. And he looks at the system window and thinks, "What the hell, isn't this a game interface? There's a manner that can plant 54 squares, don't tell me this is." Open the plant illustration handbook. And as soon as he clicks, some information appears in front of him. Spiritual sunflower. Planting requires 1 unit of spirit chi. Can produce 1 unit of spirit chi per day. Upgrade 1. Spiritual sunflower twins. Produces 2 units of spirit chi per day. Not unlocked. Upgrade 2. Spiritual sunflower empress. Produces 20 units of spirit chi per day. Not unlocked. Upgrade 3. Unknown. Note: 1 unit of spirit chi is the total amount of spirit energy in the entire body of a first-level chi refiner at great perfection. Zhang Wei is a little surprised and he says, "It turns out to be a world of cultivators." The sunflower turned into a spiritual sunflower that produces spiritual energy. Peas have also changed to a strange name, Bean Brother. Each attack fired is equal to the attack power of a person who is at the great perfection of the first level of the chi refining stage. Upgrade 1. Bean Brother Twins. Can launch 2 attacks at once. Not unlocked. Upgrade 2. Wild Bean Master. Can launch B attacks at once. Not unlocked. Upgrade 3. Unknown. Every plant can be upgraded. Will it eventually evolve into the Bean Emperor? This is a world of cultivating immortals. There might be a chance to return to Earth after reaching a higher level. Spiritual energy is definitely the most precious resource for cultivating immortals. 1 unit of spirit chi only contains so much. The manor will produce 1 unit by itself every day, plus the fully grown spiritual sunflowers. Shit! I can get SS units of spirit chi every day? What a fortune! Then someone sees the sunflower and calls its name. And as soon as Zhang Wei hears the man's voice, he gets panicked, wondering who is this strange man who has come here. And he starts running in fear, running with full strength. And he starts going back inside the ground and he thinks, is there someone coming? What kind of good person will come out into the wilderness to chat? Me coming back to life shouldn't be exposed. Not good, my body is too stiff. I'll hide first. Then we see a little girl, and she is crying and she is saying, I'm begging you, please let me do one last thing for my brother. And we see a cultivator behind her, and he says, the dead are already dead, hurry up. Throw the paper into the pit, and I'll burn the corpse using my immortal fire. Burn it, then get married. You're lucky to be favored by a cultivator like me. But the girl says, I'm begging you, let my brother keep a complete corpse. You used to be best friends, and Zhang Wei remembers seeing that girl and he thinks, isn't this the little sister who depends on Zhang Wei, me, Zhang Qian? I remember, in order to save money for his sister's private school, the original owner fell to his death while going up the mountain to collect medicine. The other voice is Lin Hao from the same village. He passed the Immortal Sect examination and became a chi refiner. He even took advantage of Zhang Wei's death to threaten Zhang Qian, and the little girl while crying says about Zhang Wei, brother, you haven't even married a wife yet, in order to take care of me this entire life. Brother, remember to come back and take a look at night, I'm not afraid of ghosts. Brother, the linen clothes that I secretly weaved for you are only half finished, don't be reluctant to wear them. Brother, how can I live without you? And Lin Hao says in a threatening tone, Humph, I gave you 1 tael of silver, which is enough for food and clothing for a year, and you actually used it to buy these things. Very well, if you still want money in the future, just serve me obediently. But the little girl does not pay attention to his words, and she hits her head hard against the stone. And Lin Hao gets shocked seeing this, and he catches the little girl by her neck and says to her, You've already sold yourself to me, and you're my property. How dare you commit suicide? You need a beating. But then Zhang Wei catches the cultivator's legs and says, To cultivate to become an immortal, does it make you no longer a human? Bullying my sister while I'm not around? And Lin Hao is surprised and shocked to see Zhang Wei in front of him. And he says, What kind of thing are you? Zhang Wei is dead. And when the little girl sees Zhang Wei, a smile comes on her face and she says, Brother, is that you? That's great, you came back to see me. And Lin Hao fearfully says to Zhang Wei, How's that possible? Zhang Wei is really dead, I've already examined his corpse. I know. Your corpse's yin-chi hasn't dissipated yet, you turned into a zombie, and you unexpectedly retained your intelligence. I heard that if you refine it into an iron corpse with molten iron, it will have extraordinary strength and become invulnerable. It will be invincible at the foundation building stage. Even the gods are helping me. You brother and sister are really my lucky stars. One will be my concubine and the other will be my bodyguard. Oh Zhang Wei, after half a year of separation, let me show you my new swordsmanship. Jade Spring Sword. And then the little girl tries to stop Lin Hao, and she asks Zhang Wei to get away from here. But Lin Hao again pushes the little girl away and tells her, Your brother is already long dead. I'm going to kill this zombie. Get away! And seeing all this, Zhang Wei gets very angry with Lin Hao and says, Lin Hao, it seems you haven't tasted my fist for a long time. And Lin Hao brings his sword in front of him and puts spiritual energy into it, and says to Zhang Wei, Fists? You want to fight a cultivator with fists? And listening to Lin Hao, Zhang Wei thinks, yes, he's been practicing for half a year. My manner system only has 1 spiritual sunflower planted. It would be great if the one I planted now was a bean brother which can attack. I can't give up. Now that I've accepted the body of the original owner, I should help him fulfill his wish, and let him go with peace of mind. The system must not be simple, give me some tricks. That's right, I just looked through the plant illustration handbook. What's the use of the zombie illustration handbook? Then Zhang Wei clicks on the option, and he starts seeing complete information about himself. Ordinary zombie, transformed from a recently dead person. Apart from not being afraid of pain, there are no other advantages. Upgrade 1, Headguard Zombie. This zombie takes care of its brain, which is proof of its survival. Not unlocked. Upgrade 2, Ironhead Zombie. This zombie's head is like iron, very hard. His body is too. Not unlocked. Upgrade 3, Unknown. Isn't this me? Sure enough, just an ordinary zombie. What use would I have with an ordinary zombie? There's no point in fighting against an immortal cultivator, unless I advance. It doesn't say what the upgrade conditions are. Could it be? And Zhang Wei is surprised, then he says, Activate. Zombie, eat the spiritual sunflower for me. And Lin Hao makes a dangerous attack on Zhang Wei and a lot of spiritual energy starts coming out. But then we see that Lin Hao's attack does not have any effect on Zhang Wei, only a little of his clothes gets torn by the sword. And when Lin Hao sees this, he gets very shocked and says this is impossible. A newly transformed zombie was able to block my full strength attack. And Zhang Wei is a little surprised to see his increased power, but he thinks, sure enough, I was right. The zombies are destined to eat the plants. The spiritual energy contained in a spiritual sunflower was all absorbed in the zombie's body. In other words, I instantly became a great perfection of the first level of chi refining, zombie. And Lin Hao now starts getting scared of Zhang Wei. And Zhang Wei tells him, the immortal road is long, Lin Hao, you've only been practicing for half a year, and you just stepped into the chi refining stage, right? How can you break through my defense? It's my turn. You want to throw yourself into my arms, I'll give it to you for my sister. And Zhang Wei attacks Lin Hao, and Lin Hao gets very scared. And in fear he says, "You can't kill me, I'm an immortal." And Zhang Wei gets confused after hearing his words. Then we see that Lin Hao has died because of the fear. And seeing this, Zhang Wei says, I didn't want to kill you. The zombies on Earth are so scary to people. They can unexpectedly scare people to death? Since he was a kid, he's never had much courage, but after cultivating to become an immortal, his courage became even smaller. And then the system asks Zhang Wei, a dead body has been detected for collection. Do you want to collect it? And Zhang Wei collects it. And the system says, you have obtained a new zombie. The zombie type is an ordinary zombie. Attributes have been synchronized. And Zhang Wei becomes happy and he says, the zombie illustration handbook can actually collect corpses by itself? If I find a cemetery of gods and demons, wouldn't that be great? The collected zombies and qualified attributes can be synchronized and coordinated to the main zombie. The main zombie has obtained Lin Hao's immortal cultivation aptitude, and has maintained the cultivation at the great perfection of the first level of Qi refining? Name, Zhang Wr, zombie type, ordinary zombie. Attribute, inferior water spirit root, cultivation, great perfection of the first level of D refining stage. My body isn't as stiff anymore. The flexibility might be in sync with Lin Hao who just died. This system is simply invincible. What kind of immortality should I cultivate? Find a place to hide, grow plants and raise zombies. 3 days later. Zhang Wei says to the little girl, Zhang Qian, you're walking too slow. Try to settle down in Xinjia village tonight. But the little girl stands there, and her eyes are moist. And seeing her, Zhang Wei becomes a little sad. But he says to the little girl, I told you this was just a fake death, and I came back to life. Why don't you believe me? And the little girl says, but you haven't eaten or drank and you're never tired. Brother isn't like this. But Zhang Wei says this is called the final radiance of the setting sun. God wouldn't accept me, so he let me continue this afterglow, and even my condition is better. You're taking another 3 steps back. You don't even have a little bit of trust at all. And Zhang Wei remembers, when I first woke up, in order not to scare her, I told her I faked my death just to tease her. She was sure I was a liar, and took 5 steps back. And Zhang Wei says to the little girl, I won't harm anyone. Lin Hao suddenly had to go pee, and went back to his sect. But the girl says, what was the name of the grandma who gave us steamed buns when we were children? And Zhang Wei does not remember anything, and he gives the wrong answer to the girl, because of which the girl runs away from there. And Zhang Wei remembers, there's no such thing in my memory. And the next day the little girl comes again, and starts asking Zhang Wei questions. But Zhang Wei is unable to answer her questions correctly, because of which the little girl runs away again. And like this the little girl asks Zhang Wei questions many times, but Zhang Wei is never able to give her correct answer. And remembering all these things, Zhang Wei thinks, this, Zhang Wei, has been dead for a long time. According to modern medicine, all the brain cells are dead. I really didn't inherit his memory. The only thing that has been inherited is probably this previous life mission. When Zhang Wei died, the thing he couldn't let go of the most was his sister. Please find a good place for her to settle down, and ensure that she can live a stable life. Reward: upgrade to a Haggard zombie, which can equip an item, and improve the attributes of the main body. And the little girl, while crying, says to Zhang Wei, I know my brother is dead, don't lie to me anymore. Even if you eat me or kill me, I'm begging you, don't mess with my brother's body, let me bury him in peace. And hearing the little girl's words, Zhang Wei gets surprised and thinks, Zhang Wei, you're so lucky to have such a good sister. Then Zhang Wei says, I'm not your brother, and I don't know what I am now. But making you happy is the task he left for me. And hearing Zhang Wei's words, the little girl catches hold of him and says to him, take me away. Let me go to see my brother. And Zhang Wei thinks, I'm really dead. Even though Lin Hao's body keeps me flexible and warm, I won't get tired, hungry or sleepy. Want to cry but can't cry. Will my heart gradually die? Will my emotions gradually become cold? Even if I return to Earth in the future, will I still be me? Zhang Qian, who finally got her answer, stopped making noise. Xinjia Village. I can't go back to my original village. My house was emptied by Lin Hao, and it's even more inconvenient for the villagers that Zhang Wei had come back to life. I used my chi refining zombie body to smash a wall with one punch, and it only took a second for the village chief of Xinjia to believe that I was an immortal cultivator. I worked hard to rebuild the wall. All the money found in Lin Hao's pocket was given to the village chief, who promised to adopt Zhang Qian as his adopted daughter. You must be exhausted, little lady. The mission I promised your brother is completed. The road to immortality is long. Wait until I become famous with this face, then I'll come pick you up. I don't have anything else at hand. Let's try Lin Hao's sword. This small amount of iron sheet adds a small amount of metal protection to the surface of your body. And that sword becomes useless for Zhang Wei. 3 days later. And we see Zhang Wei, and he has opened the system window in front of him, and he is saying, "It's been 6 days since I traveled through time, and I've gained a lot. Hee hee. The previous spiritual energy. I planted 5 rows of 30 spiritual sunflowers in total. At midnight on the 7th day, I'll have 32 units of spiritual energy. It's time to plant something else. Other plants can provide me with the ability to attack and defend, achieving all-around development. In the remaining 4 rows, plant 2 rows of bean brothers, and 1 row of nuts. For the remaining row, let's try 4 dwarf winter melons and 2 sweet potato mines. In addition to the iron watermelon, there are 5 kinds of plants. I have 3 extra spirit chi. I'll plant spiritual sunflowers and let the zombies eat them to strengthen them. To sum things up, I now have 31 units of spirit chi produced every day, which is 12 times the attack power of first level of chi refining, bean brother, 6 times to resist the damage at the 5th layer of chi refining, nuts, 4 times of full strength damage at the 5th layer of chi refining, dwarf winter melon, 2 sweet potato mine traps that can be placed which also cause damage at the 5th layer of chi refining. Now that I'm really strong, it's time to complete the mission left by Lin Hao during his lifetime. No buddy, your mission after death is really your rebirth. And the system says 1. Cause trouble to Zhang Weijian sees his sister. 2. Bring the collected grass branches back to the Jade Spring Sect. 3. Stay with senior sister Lin Shishir forever. 4. Stay with senior sister Xia Yun forever. 5. Stay with senior sister Sarah forever. 6. Suggest to senior sister Area to change her name. Also stay with her forever. 7. Don't encounter a zombie tide. And Zhang Wei says, but what is a zombie tide? I don't know much about this world. I'll find the Jade Spring Sect first, then make plans. It's been flashing from the very beginning. It's probably a prop for positioning within the sect. The frequency of flashing in this direction is a bit higher. Switching to the Lin Hao zombie to check it out. And Zhang Wei starts moving quickly towards the forest, and then he hears someone's voice. Damn it, these 2-headed wolfhounds are impossible to kill. And Zhang Wei hears that voice and a smile comes on his face. Then he sees that some 2-headed wolves have surrounded 2 female cultivators, and one female cultivator says, Area, hold on. Then the other female cultivator says, but I don't have much spiritual energy left. And Zhang Wei is watching all this from the top of the tree. And the female cultivator says, you have to persevere. Our martial brothers will definitely come rescue us. And the other female cultivator says, I can activate the Jade Sword technique 3 more times. And seeing both the female cultivators, Zhang Wei thinks, this Area.is Lin Hao's senior sister? This is a good opportunity. If I can rescue them, we can return to the sect. I should be able to deal with these beasts with my strength. Then Zhang Wei comes down to rescue them. And seeing Zhang Wei, these 2 female cultivators see hope. But then the system says to Zhang Wei, detected materials that can be used for plant absorption in the manor, would you like to collect? And Zhang Wei gets surprised on hearing the system's words. Then he says to both of them, senior sisters, wait a bit. Let me take a look at the instructions first. And on hearing Zhang Wei's words, both of them get very angry. And they both say, Lin Hao, you dare to play tricks on me, I'm going to kill you. And the system says, would you like to use plant absorption on the spiritual sunflower? And Zhang Wei clicks on the absorb option, and the sunflower starts absorbing the spiritual power, and the system says to Zhang Wei, your spiritual sunflower has evolved into spiritual sunflower twins, doubling the efficiency of producing spiritual energy. And Zhang Wei becomes very happy, and he thinks, my system is a synthetic version. The two-headed wolfhound and the spiritual sunflower became the spiritual sunflower twins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 dead and 6 alive, including the absorbed one. The production efficiency of 9 spiritual sunflowers can be doubled. And Zhang Wei gets excited and goes to save both the female cultivators. Don't be afraid, senior sisters, I'm coming. And Zhang Wei starts killing the two-headed wolves. And he strangles one of the two-headed wolves to death. Then he says to the female cultivator, there's no problem leaving all the dead bodies to me, right? And the female cultivator says, if you say you really need it. Lin Hao, please stay safe. And Zhang Wei says, don't worry, they're just a few evil beasts. I'll take their lives. And seeing Zhang Wei fighting with those two-headed wolves, one female cultivator says, something is wrong with Lin Hao. His steps are scattered and disorganized, fighting with his bare hands, shouting and screaming. And the other female cultivator says, Lin Hao, he's fighting such a bloody battle for us. Senior sister, what are you talking about? I always said such bad things to him, unexpectedly, at the critical moment between life and death. All our martial brothers fled, but he. And the female cultivator thinks, you can do it. If you can return to the Sect safely, I'll promise you that thing. And Zhang Wei says while beating the two-headed wolves, this is great. 12 times the attack power of the first level of the Qi refining stage, S0 terrifying, one punch will kill a two-headed wolf head. The 9th one. Time to call it a day. Senior sisters, let's go back to the Sect. Hey, what's with that look? Are there other monsters? And seeing Zhang Wei's serious look, both the female cultivators get extremely shocked and scared. And one female cultivator says, are you still the same Lin Hao? And the other female cultivator says, there's no need to go overboard, you've done enough. Just wait for your senior brothers to come help you. And Zhang Wei thinks, was I exposed? Are cultivators so vigilant? Could it be? Do they use their breath to identify their companions? Or is it because I didn't use Sect techniques that aroused their suspicions? Time traveling is my biggest secret. Do I have to kill people to silence them? I've read too many novels. How could I do this to innocent people? And the female cultivator says, having said that, if you don't deal with this half of your body, you're really going to die. And Zhang Wei thinks, it's over. I thought they couldn't break through the defenses because of their strong bodies. But it turns out that they don't feel pain. Wouldn't this mean there's no perception either? The path to becoming an immortal is destined to be heartless and cut off from worldly affairs. I just took a step ahead of my colleagues. It's okay, it's really okay. So Zhang Wei says, I'll put away the two-headed wolf corpses first. And both female cultivators say, they're supposed to be your spoils of war. Put it in the storage bag as soon as possible to avoid attracting other ferocious beasts. Yes, the monsters here are too difficult to deal with, if we hadn't met you. Then Zhang Wei opens the system window, and puts all the two-headed wolves inside it, and he also sees lots of sunflowers which he becomes happy on seeing, and he says, every day, I gain 9 units of spiritual energy out of thin air. Don't know if they have any relatives or friends. And then both female cultivators take Zhang Wei's name, and Zhang Wei looks back, and they both say, Lin Hao. Senior sister is here? Are we going back to the Sect now? I'll tell you the truth. The two of us have been fighting fiercely for a long time, and the elixirs have been consumed long ago. I'm a little hungry right now, and the second female cultivator says this two-headed wolf has a cultivation level that has just entered the Qi refining stage. The meat should be of good quality. I don't know if it can be divided into pieces. And Zhang Wei gets a little surprised. Then one of them says this. We just need to have enough for a full stomach. But Zhang Wei says, no, I'm not hungry. And the other female cultivator says, okay, earlier I worked with my senior brother to kill a third layer chi refining brute force bear, just in time to hold a welcoming dinner for junior brother Lin. I got a quarter of it, enough for us to have a taste of it. And Zhang Wei thinks it turns out that this is a storage bag. Lin Hao also has one, but he just doesn't know how to open it. And the system says, detected materials that can be used for plant absorption in the mana. Would you like to collect? So Zhang Wei asks the system to collect the bear, and the system collects the bear. And seeing this, both the female cultivators are very surprised and both of them are shocked and both say, what happened to my big bear paw? Junior brother, you? Why would you go so far as to do this? And after listening to both of them, Zhang Wei gets nervous and he says that I can explain, but then all three of them feel something and we see that a hand comes out from under the ground, seeing which all three of them are shocked and the female cultivator says, not good, it's a zombie tide. Run away! Go back to the Sect's gathering place and escape to the large formation to have a chance at survival. Then Zhang Wei starts looking upwards, but then the ground beneath him starts breaking. And someone comes to that place and Zhang Wei is looking at her, and she looks like a small woman but she looks very beautiful. And Zhang Wei sees that woman and thinks, this woman is so cool. But then that woman disappears from there, and Zhang Wei is surprised, and he thinks, where did she go? She teleported. But we see that both the female cultivators are surrounded by zombies. And a hand comes out from the ground and catches the leg of a female cultivator. And Zhang Wei runs fast to save the female cultivator, and Zhang Wei opens the system window, and he says, bear and bean brother. Synthesize. And Zhang Wei thinks, is it because the bear was incomplete that it didn't fully transform? It's enough, strength of a bear power boost. And Zhang Wei attacks a zombie and breaks its teeth, and Zhang Wei becomes happy seeing this and he thinks, the force of this strength is enough to break a 3,000-year-old tree. But then another zombie catches the leg of the female cultivator and throws her in the air. And the female cultivator shouts, I've been thrown to the sky. Save me. And as she falls down, Zhang Wei catches her in his lap and kicks the zombie away. But Zhang Wei's nose starts bleeding. But there are still many zombies, seeing which Zhang Wei goes to fight them, but he tells both the female cultivators, run. We can't get caught up in the siege. Find a way to break out. And the female cultivator says, which way do we go? What if we fall into the center of the zombie tide? And the other female cultivator says, I know the direction. When I was in the air, I saw no trace of the zombie tide over there. But Zhang Wei tells both of them that how can I run away in fear of them? And he starts beating the zombies and he says, if you dare to stare at me, I'll backhand you. What are you looking at? It's not you, right? And you! Eat my heartwarming foot! You can't run away! Take my zombie kick! 3 hours later. And Zhang Wei has saved both the female cultivators by beating all the zombies, and Zhang Wei says, a piece of cake. Cleared the level without any damage. And one female cultivator says, Junior brother Lin Hao, have you also practiced the art of body refining? And the other female cultivator says, yes, thanks to you, we could survive. And the female cultivator says the junior brother's breath is so prolonged, with strong physical strength, not to mention that he's young and vigorous, he will definitely have a lot of potential in the future. And the other female cultivator says, senior sister has nothing to repay you with, so why not? And Zhang Wei thinks it's not good. If I act too strongly, my identity as a zombie will be exposed. Then Zhang Wei says to both of them, my whole body hurts so much, there seems to be something wrong with my lower 3 extremities. No, I need to lie down so that I won't be affected by the evil energy wreaking havoc over my body. I need to do some meditation. It's uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable. Senior sister, what did you just say? And both female cultivators think, don't be so deliberate if you want to refuse. And Zhang Wei thinks this is somewhat troublesome. According to the memory fragments left by Lin Hao, this zombie tide was caused by a fallen tribulation transcending Heavenly Lord. There's no other information known at all, given his status. The division of cultivation realms, Qigong training methods, heavenly treasures. I don't know anything about all kinds of information that is helpful for cultivation. And then someone comes there and he says, these two junior sisters, it's great to see you escape safely. And seeing that man, both female cultivators become happy, and they both say, Senior Brother Wang, you came back to save us. Senior Brother Wang is a genius at the 3rd level of chi refining. With him we can return to our sect safely. And Zhang Wei thinks, didn't he leave you behind and go bring reinforcements? Then he comes back alone? Then Wang Tianliang says, it's my junior brother Lin Hao, it's very nice to meet you. I don't mind killing one more. And seeing Wang Tianliang's evil face, the female cultivator gets scared, and she says, why are you saying this, Senior Brother Wang? And Wang Tianliang takes out his sword, and laughingly says, obviously to take all the herbal medicine you picked for myself, and use them as bribes. When the inner sect recruits me in 3 days, I will be able to break away from my status as an outer sect disciple. Do you understand what the 2 words, inner disciple, means? Better resources, higher level techniques, and regular lectures from the elders. This is how you cultivate immortality. And Wang Tianliang catches hold of the neck of both the female cultivators and says to both of them, give it to me. Give it all to me. After I enter the inner sect, I can also let you follow me in as my concubine. And the female cultivator says, Senior Brother Wang, I've always admired you, please don't do this. The herbs we collected were just enough to complete the task. Otherwise we will also be kicked out of the sect. And Zhang Wei is sitting there, and he is saying, the breakthrough has been delivered to my door. System, pull out a spiritual sunflower for me. And Zhang Wei starts eating the sunflower, and Wang Tianliang's attention goes towards the sunflower, and he is a little surprised, but then his eyes shine and he thinks, the spiritual energy of this spiritual plant is so full that it's overflowing, such a high-quality heaven and earth treasure, you're actually treating it. And Wang Tianliang throws both the female cultivators away, and very fast goes to get the sunflower, and he says, give it to me. This will be the biggest assistance for me to join the inner sect. But Zhang Wei says to Wang Tianliang, if you're hungry, take a bite. And Wang Tianliang says, give it to me. But Zhang Wei starts to go away from there, and he says, not giving it. Where did this idiot come from, getting jealous when he sees others eating? Time to slip away. And Zhang Wei starts to run fast, and Wang Tianliang also starts to follow him. And seeing all this, both female cultivators heave a sigh of relief, and say among themselves, unbelievable, Senior Brother Wang, Lin Hao saved us again, over in that direction is the zombie tide. Let's go back to the sect. Lin Hao is strong, he'll definitely survive. Then we see Zhang Wei entering the zombie-infested jungle, and Wang Tianliang follows him. He is looking for Zhang Wei, wondering where he has gone. He notices that there are a lot of zombies following him. And we see Zhang Wei reverting to his original form, and he laughs, and he thinks, where are you looking? Here I come. I wanted to switch back to Zhang Wei's body so that Senior Brother Wang wouldn't be able to recognize him. Unexpectedly, the other zombies didn't attack me and regarded me as one of their own. And Wang Tianliang takes out his sword to fight those zombies, and a lot of light is coming out of it, and seeing this Zhang Wei thinks, wow, a light sword. I won't be afraid of walking at night, but I wonder what the energy consumption is, and Wang Tianliang starts cutting the zombies with the sword, and seeing this Zhang Wei is a little scared, and Junior Brother Lin Hao, come out quickly, it's safe here. I have cut all the zombies in two. And Wang Tianliang starts fighting with all those zombies, and Zhang Wei is a little scared, and he thinks, a wise man never suffers an immediate loss. I'm not afraid of you, I just cherish my body. I promised Zhangqian that I would use this face to stand out, but I can't injure it here. And Wang Tianliang notices something, and he says, something is wrong, Lin Hao disappeared after entering these woods. And Wang Tianliang jumps and sits on the branch of a tree, and he thinks, don't get surrounded. Find an open place that is easy to move to, watch for a reaction for a stick of incense, and if it doesn't work, I can only withdraw. Lin Hao, you bastard! It would have been good if you just obediently came out and handed it to me. If I could offer that spirit plant, I might be able to join the alchemy pavilion directly. Even being a handyman is better than facing a zombie tide and being used as cannon fodder. It appeared. The breath of that spirit plant is somewhere behind me. And Zhang Wei is watching all these things from a distance, and he thinks, the best defense is offense. Let's see how you receive my 12 bean brothers. Then Zhang Wei takes out the sunflower, and as soon as Wang Tianliang sees the sunflower he becomes happy, and he runs to get the sunflower, and he thinks, I don't know if it was because Lin Hao is a coward or has been killed by the zombie tide, so he just left it here. It's mine, I found it. Now to hand it over to the disciples of the alchemy pavilion. And he starts running, but then he feels something, and he gets a little confused. But then he gets hit by something and rolls and falls very far away. Zhang Wei had attacked Wang Tianliang, due to which he hit a stone, and Zhang Wei said to him, at the moment of life and death, you abandoned your fellow disciples. Full of lies, sanctimonious, a human face with a beastly heart, conspiring to murder fellow disciples, selfish, capitalist. If you cultivate immortality but do not cultivate your heart, my lecture can't go wrong. Do you still have such a tough mouth? I think you want to suffer again. He was killed? And then the system tells Zhang Wei, the dead body has been detected for collection. Do you want to collect it? And Zhang Wei says, am I too strong? Collect. I have to say, recycling the corpse is simply the only godly skill for murder, arson, destroying corpses and eradicating all traces. Name, Wan Tanliang zombie type, ordinary zombie, attribute, inferior fire spirit root, cultivation, 3rd level of the Qi refining stage, past life mission, 1. Join the inner sect of the Jade Spring Sect. 2. Survive the zombie ride. Reward, draw a new plant species. Well, it seems mission 2 can't be completed. The dead can no longer die. This bulging storage bag is the biggest gain. Open. Spirit stones, such weak spiritual energy. A bunch of them isn't even as good as 1 bite of the spiritual sunflower. Bamboo slips. This is the mental training method of the Jade Spring Sect. Great. What is this smell? It smells really weird. The remaining half of the brute force bear. This will allow my bean brother to be completely synthesized. These grasses with a faint touch of spiritual energy must be their mission herbs. A map? A map. I have enough spiritual energy, skills, even maps, and my zombie body is not sleepy, hungry, thirsty, or tired. I'll just blend in with the zombies and cultivate until I reach the point where the Heavenly Lord comes out. I'll put the things away and take a look at the place marked on the map. 2-headed wolf's cave dwelling. It's not that far from here. Then Zhang Wei reaches near the 2-headed wolf's cave, and he starts going inside the cave, and he thinks, taking a bite of the spiritual sunflower seems to emit a faint light. Got the wrong one. And as soon as Zhang Wei lights the fire, he sees that many eyes are looking at him. And Zhang Wei gets a little nervous and he says, hello everyone, you're all so excited to see me here. But Zhang Wei feels something is wrong. And he starts looking ahead. Then he turns the light to the other side, then the 2-headed wolves also start looking in that direction. And Zhang Wei understands what he has to do. And he throws the light inwards, due to which all the 2-headed wolves start going inwards. And Zhang Wei thinks the truth is revealed. He wasn't a good guy. He was the one who attracted the wolves to attack the senior sisters to seek wealth and death. Then Zhang Wei attacks the 2-headed wolves, and starts moving forward, killing them, a few hours later. And Zhang Wei is looking at the system window by opening it, and he is thinking, 5 rows of spiritual sunflowers, all upgrades to spiritual sunflower twins. I'm so strong now. However, a more difficult problem has arisen. How do I start practicing cultivation? I don't understand this basic cultivation method. The spiritual sunflower twins produce 60 units of spirit chi every day, plus 1 unit of spirit chi naturally, for a total of 61 units. Combined with the skills and senior brother Wang's memories, I can understand the chi refining stage. You need to refine your chi to the 9th level. Then find foundation building objects to absorb before you can enter the foundation building stage. Taking 1 unit of natural spiritual energy as the standard, The spiritual energy required for each level promotion is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256. I have eaten a total of 5 spiritual sunflowers, and the 5 units of spiritual chi have passed the 3rd level. It's just that I haven't cultivated the skills yet and exerted the corresponding strength. To embark on the journey of cultivating immortality, you must first use your spiritual roots to sense the world. The higher the grade of spiritual root, the more obvious the perception and the higher the aptitude. Above that, there are various immortal talents and divine bodies, and when they are born, heaven and earth will send visions and they are destined to be the sect masters of various major sects in the future. As for me, although I can synchronize the collected zombie templates to Zhang Wei's body, the body of Zhang Wei itself can't be cultivated. This is my biggest shortcoming. No, the biggest shortcoming should be, I've been dead for so long that even the zombies regard me as the same kind. If I'm discovered by those powerful people, the outcome won't be very good. Maybe because I rose from the dead, I'll be ground into powder and made into an aphrodisiac. This senior brother Wang has also collected several methods because of his inferior spirit roots. Replacing the spirit root, snatching someone's body, blood exchange, marrow cleansing pills. There are also legendary magical medicines, and many more methods, which he believed could only be found by joining the sect. It would be great if I could grow my own miracle medicine, plant 54 trees and sell them. Zombie Illustrated Handbook, Senior Brother Wang's Past Life Missions, do in the inner sect of the Jade Spring Sect. 2. Survive the zombie tide. Mission 2. The main body can freely come and go within the zombie tide, but it's a blessing in disguise. It's judged to be completed. This is great. It seems that not all zombie bodies are useless. Then the results are clear. Whether it's the reward for Senior Brother Wang's past life mission or solving the problem of Zhang Wei's body's qualifications to cultivate immortality, it's all required. Join the inner sect. 3 days later, then we see an injured man, and the men who injured him are in front of him, and they are saying, I want you to bring your father's axe over, and we'll have a look. Can you still not pay it back? And his other men say, how many chances have I given you? You deserved it, Ba. And then Zhang Wei comes there, and Zhang Wei holds the injured man's head and says, it's hopeless, the injuries are too serious. In my world, there were also 3 fiends who beat another teenager to death in the same way. There was nothing I could do over there, but over here, I will make them pay the price. And looking at Zhang Wei, they say, where did you come from? If you have the skills, then wait here, I call my uncle over here. But Zhang Wei quickly grabs the man's face and peels off the skin from his face, seeing which his companions get very scared. Then Zhang Wei kills another man and he doesn't even get a chance to move. Seeing this, another friend of theirs gets very scared and starts apologizing to Zhang Wei and says, I'm sorry. Let me go, I know I was wrong. But Zhang Wei says, you don't know that you were wrong, you'll just know that you're going to die. And Zhang Wei injures him and he starts screaming loudly. Then Zhang Wei quickly comes to the injured man and tells him, they got the punishment they deserved, but it wasn't enough. Can you still hold on? And Zhang Wei closes the eyes of that injured man and that injured man dies. Then the system tells Zhang Wei, a dead body has been detected for collection, do you want to collect it? And Zhang Wei collects the bodies of all of them. Then Zhang Wei puts himself inside the body of that injured man, and the system says, the body transformation is complete, the original name of this body's identity is, and Zhang Wei has now gone inside the body of that injured man. And seeing this, the other man gets very scared, and Zhang Wei tries to stand up and he thinks, I need a fresh recently deceased body to reduce the probability of discovering my true identity. In the past 3 days, it was impossible to personally kill the people I encountered within the range of the zombie tide, and it was also impossible to save them. And Zhang Wei says, oh, if you're a beast, then you don't need to talk about morality. On Senior Brother Wang's map, there happens to be traces of a second brute force bear nearby, so I'll use you as bait. And we see a very dangerous bear, and the bear attacks the man, injures him, and starts eating him, and Zhang Wei is watching all this from above. And then the system says, name, Wang Fa, zombie type, ordinary zombie, attribute, medium grade fire spirit root, cultivation, none, past life missions, content, 1. Leave the village, 2. Learn to read, reward skill revive a dead plant. And Zhang Wei thinks, what a kind and gentle child, he didn't leave any missions of getting revenge on others before he died. Then Zhang Wei attacks the bear, and the system says, a dead body has been detected for collection. Do you want to collect it? A dead body has been detected for collection, and want to collect it. A dead body has been detected for collection, do you want to collect it? And Zhang Wei says, let them all rot in the ground, I don't want them. Then the scene shifts to the Jade Spring Sect. Then we see a female cultivator who is registering. And then Zhang Wei comes there. But he has put a sunflower mask on his face, and he says, I am Wang Fa, 13 years old. I've come to join the Jade Spring Sect, to seek immortality. Then we see many people who have come to register. And the female cultivator is speaking. A total of 56 children signed up for the Jade Spring Sect this time. Some of you have walked here through perseverance, some have been introduced by family, and some of you have come here just by pure luck. Among mortals, only 3 in 100 can embark on the path to immortality. Those with superior qualifications are rare. However, cultivation is not all about talent. Refining elixirs and tools, cultivating the mind and Tao, both main and small roads, all of them are the correct path, and the female cultivator thinks, after entering for 3 years, it's finally my turn to show off my power in front of mortals. Who would have expected that the zombie tide would suddenly riot, and the elders would go to monitor the surroundings, and they haven't returned yet. And she tells a man, next, go to the sect for the 3 assessments, look at my spirit shuttle. And then someone comes there and asks the female cultivator to wait, and we see that an elder has come here, and on seeing the elder, the female cultivator greets him, and she says, inner disciple Wang Yiling has seen Elder Ma. And the elder says, among the people being assessed this year, none of them have extraordinary qualifications, just drive them all out. And the female cultivator says, Elder Ma, our branch of the Jade Spring Sect is stationed in the 100,000 mountains under the orders of the main sect. There is a shortage of manpower on every mountain. Every year, there are thousands of people who come to our sect to take the assessment. And the elder says, when the zombie tide calms down, all the troops will return to the main sect. When the time comes, the sect will be full of people with mediocre qualifications. Who will be responsible? Then the elder female cultivator sees some children, and upon seeing them the female cultivator says, Foundation building secret art, Qiankuan sleeve. And the elder says, it's these children here who are going to be assessed. And then a sword falls in front of both of them, and someone says, meddling with the assessment for entering the sect, isn't the elder Ma too nosy? How many benefits did you receive from the mortal lords? And the elder says, Jiang Ziyue, the eldest disciple of the sword pavilion, has nothing to do with this Ma, but has something to do with your sword pavilion? And we see a beautiful female cultivator coming there, and she says, after coming here to act as a temporary substitute pavilion master, the elder Ma has truly become addicted to being an official. The elder has also transcended above mortals, so there's no need to make things difficult for a few children. And seeing Jiang Ziyue, the female cultivator greets him and she says, I have seen my eldest senior sister. And the elder says, just because your master is the lord of the sword pavilion of this sect, how dare you disrespect your elders? It seems like you don't want to concede on this matter? And Jiang Ziyue says, concede? I, the disciple of the sword pavilion, am in charge of the correct path. I can't bear to see these filthy things. How can I ignore injustice when I see it? Then she comes in front of both of them. And she holds her sword, and seeing this thing the elder says, very good, I will act as your master to see how your cultivation has progressed in the past half a year. And Zhang Wei is sitting and watching all these things, and he is thinking, woohoo! The direct disciple of the main sect sword pavilion is fighting against the corrupt elder of the branch sect. There's a good show to watch, fight. And Zhang Wei says to the female cultivator, sister, this is going to become a fight, why don't you give a running commentary? So the female cultivator says, running commentary? What do you mean? And Zhang Wei says, look, one Sect elder, one rising star, what are their cultivation levels, what skills are they, what are their number of good at? Wins and losses? What are their famous achievements in the past? After this fight, will there be more grudges involved and is there anything else to watch? Stupid. And the female cultivator gets angry, and she says, where did you come from, you idiot? Are you treating your senior sister as an actor? You disrespect the immortals so much, even if you don't take the entrance examination. But Zhang Wei says, no. Elder Ma's immortal magic one's wonderful, and the older sister is such a natural talent that everyone yearns for it. Understanding it in advance is precisely to strengthen our desire to seek immortality. And Jiang Ziyue says, ha, I've made a fool of myself, Elder Ma. Human traces are like floating clouds in the sky, floating rootless and ever-changing. Ordinary people are like billions of carp crossing the river. Who knows if there is a lost true dragon hidden among them? Interfering rashly will inevitably meddle with the karma of other people, so let all the disciples be assessed together. And the elder says, Ziyue, you are so broad-minded, Jade Spring Sect is lucky to have you. The so-called sons and daughters of the Holy Land are nothing more than that. It's just that this ignorant boy has a bad temperament. If he steps onto the path of immortality, I'm afraid he will stir up a reign of terror and become a demon that everyone wants to yell and beat. And Jiang Ziyue says, I think he has some talent. Come over and let me see. And Zhang Wei thinks, wow, so tall, must be 175, nearly the same as my main body. The food in the sect must be good. And Jiang Ziyue says, how strange, your medium fire spirit root aptitude is not bad, judging from your steady pace and deep breath, you're a good candidate for body training. But the pulse is so weak that it can't be examined. And Zhang Wei thinks, Wang Fei's body was transformed immediately by me and preserved its warm condition, so it shouldn't be noticed. Then Zhang Wei says, report, when my mother was 7 months pregnant, my father urgently called out to me to come out and play cards with him. Because I was born premature, I was weak and sickly since I was a child. I was blown under a cliff on a windy day and ate a glowing plant, and ever since that day, I've been super strong. And the elder says, oh, it seems that he had some unexpected encounters and felt that he was the son of destiny. No wonder he said something so rude. And Jiang Ziyue says, attack me and let me see how strong you are. But then Zhang Wei catches Jiang Ziyue's hand and he turns around, and pulls her towards himself to throw her down, and at the same time Jiang Ziyue's 2 big watermelons start moving towards Zhang Wei's shoulder. And as soon as Jiang Ziyue notices this thing she gets shy, so she kicks Zhang Wei and throws him away. And she says, it's better to trouble Elder Ma to try. And Zhang Wei falls in front of Elder, and he says, is that okay? And Elder says, if you attack with all your strength, and if you perform well, I might hire you as a handyman. And Zhang Wei says, I really can attack you with all my strength. I'm afraid I might hurt you, Elder. And Jiang Ziyue says, you can rest assured, Elder Ma won't lower himself to your level. And Zhang Wei thinks, okay, I also want to know how much power I have now. This blow, I'll use all my strength. The zombie body at the 3rd level of Qi refining, the power of 10 bean brothers, the power of 2 brute force bears, 2 potatoes and 4 squash. I'll use this punch to open my path to immortality.